Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are strapping on our investigator hats because we're diving straight into the absolute ultimate detective work of app development. We're talking about finding your perfect market gap. Because let's be honest, building an app without understanding the terrain is kind of like trying to navigate a maze blindfolded. So let's rip that blindfold off, shall we?
Look at this number. As of 2025, an astonishing 44% of companies admit to having zero competitor visibility. Literally zero. That is a massive, incredibly dangerous blind spot. If you're building an app right now and you don't know exactly what the other players in your space are up to, you are setting yourself up for a really rough journey.
So to cure this blind spot, we've got a 6-step investigation today. We'll hit the market blind spot, define your target market, craft psychological user personas, conduct our competitor analysis, find those highly profitable market gaps, and finally, design an irresistible value proposition.
Section 1. The market blind spot. You see, evaluating your rivals isn't just some box you tick once before launching your app and then forget about. It's a continuous, ongoing process, and it lays the absolute foundation for your strategic positioning. If you misidentify who you're actually competing against, you're just going to waste resources and miss crucial opportunities. You have to know exactly who is fighting for your users' attention. Otherwise, you might accidentally build something that a giant in the market already does perfectly. Or, worse, you might completely miss a massive gap that they've overlooked.
Section 2. Defining your target market. Now, there's a crucial distinction here that trips up so many app developers. It's the difference between your target market and your target audience. Your target market is the broad group you serve, right? Like, say, women aged 25 to 45 in urban areas. But your target audience? That's the specific group you are speaking to right now with your marketing. For example, millennial women aged 28 to 34 who are passionate yoga enthusiasts. Understanding the difference between those two is your strategic superpower. And to organize all this customer data effectively, you really need to hone in using 4 main types of market segmentation. You've got demographic, so age, gender, income; geographic, simply where they live; psychographic, which digs into their lifestyle, personality, and values; and behavioral, how they actually act, their purchase habits, and brand loyalty. Getting this data helps you figure out not just who they are on paper, but why they buy and how they behave in the real world.
Section 3. Crafting psychological user personas.
I love this insight from the Blue Monarch Group. They say, crafting customer personas without delving into the intricate realm of psychology is like trying to paint a masterpiece with black and white crayons. It's so true. Consumer behavior is totally driven by subconscious biases, emotional triggers, and social affiliations. If you're only looking at a user's age and income, you're missing the actual living, breathing human being who's going to tap on your app.
So how do we actually do this? You want to cluster your potential users based on shared attributes into a finite number, usually around 3 to 10 specific types, and give them descriptive, memorable titles. This helps your dev team easily empathize with them. Don't just call someone user type A. Call her Jane, the city gardener, 28 years old, who wants to track her plant watering schedule but gets totally overwhelmed by complex interfaces. You're designing an app for Jane. You're not designing it for a spreadsheet.
Section 4. Conducting competitor analysis.
All right, time to interrogate the villains on our market battlefield. Here's a systematic, really actionable checklist for evaluating those rivals. Step 1. Identify your competitors, both direct and indirect. Step 2. Examine their offerings and their pricing. What are they actually selling? Step 3. Evaluate their marketing and brand positioning. And Step 4. Uncover the market gaps. This is going to reveal their strengths, sure, but much more importantly for us, it reveals their fatal weaknesses.
A fantastic, practical way to do this is to build out a side-by-side comparison matrix. Plot your competitors against attributes like pricing, functionality, user experience, and their unique selling points. Seeing it all visually, right next to each other, pinpoints exactly where your app can excel. Plus, it shows you the baseline features you absolutely have to include just to stay in the game.
Section 5. Finding profitable market gaps.
Now, if there's an anchor mantra you take away from this entire explainer, make it this. Competitor research is not about imitation. It is fundamentally about innovation. You aren't analyzing your competitors just so you can copy their feature list. No way. You're analyzing them to find out what they are completely failing to do so your app can swoop in and fulfill those unmet needs. Want to know one of the best, sneakiest ways to find these gaps? Become a detective in the review sections. Go analyze the product reviews on the App Store or Google Play for your competitors. Look for recurring complaints on social media. If literally everyone is complaining that a major fitness app is too intimidating for beginners, there is your underserved segment. You can pivot and position your app as the friendly, welcoming alternative for the exact audience that your competitor is actively ignoring. Section 6. Designing your value proposition.
Okay, bringing it all together to build an irresistible app requires the value proposition canvas. Think of it like a puzzle. On one side, you have your customer profile, what jobs they're trying to do, their pains and their gains. On the other side, you have your value map, how your app actually acts as a pain reliever and a gain creator. The whole goal is to create a flawless alignment between what the customer is struggling with and the specific relief your app provides.
So what makes an effective value proposition? Well, 3 things. First, clear benefits. You need to convey specific outcomes the user is going to get. Second, differentiation. You have to explain exactly how you differ from the alternatives. And third, job performance, stating the specific job your app accomplishes for them. Oh, and a quick warning from the experts. Relying on a tech label like "powered by AI" is a huge mistake. Users do not care about the tech label. They only care about the concrete value your app delivers to make their life easier.
Keep in mind, as you develop this proposition, you're going to cycle through 3 types of fit. First up is problem-solution fit. That's your on-paper alignment between the user's need and your proposed solution. Next is product-market fit. That's when you actually have hard evidence that customers value and use your app. And finally, business model fit, which just ensures your app captures value sustainably so your business actually survives.
And bridging those types of fit requires a very specific mindset. Because at the end of the day, finding a market gap is really just a hypothesis. You absolutely must validate those assumptions through structured experiments and testing. It's about testing, not guessing. You have to reduce your risk with actual evidence from potential users before you sink heavily into expensive app development.
Which brings us to the end of our investigation. And I want to leave you with one final provocative question. Based on the target audience you've defined, the deep psychology you've uncovered, and the competitor weaknesses you've identified, what is the solution your app users didn't even know they needed? Take these investigative tools, go out there, find your unique opportunity, and dominate the market. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and happy sleuthing.